that Lorig Session won't be on some said that you want some decor on the Shesarva that didn't in my share data writing was from your share.
Good evening. Last week we looked up to, we started with direct perception. We concluded the first two of the four divisions of direct perception, looking at sense direct perceivers and mental direct perceivers. And then tonight we're going to start with the self-knowing direct perceivers, which is in the middle of page 4, and in the Tibetan on the bottom of page 169.
Lorig Jahadiki Jampi Kimjeruda, the Chick Jahavi, Pandora, Caruyorasene, Tangazo Nambigi, Sheo Dunganzuki, Digituyata, Dunga Se, Koshigur, what is a Dunga Se, Digituyare? Tisanda Digituyata, Dunga Se, and Dunga Se and Digituyati, Shimbala, that near Lorikin Namshati, Shingua Chagurwa.
Just before I go on, if I can sit now, I just want one request from my side. When you have questions, can you keep them for the end of the class? That's for the translators a little easier. Otherwise, my concentration gets broken. Okay. So what is the purpose of studying Lorig? Why do we study this topic, awareness and knowers? What is the benefit of it? So all of us have this heartfelt desire, this inner yearning for happiness and desire for freedom from suffering. In order to be able to achieve that, we need to study the Dharma and reflect on what we study. And part of that process is coming to understand Buddhist psychology, the workings of the mind. And that is presented here in this topic, Lorig.
Lam Yamlen Jane, Sanjo Kovatokore, Chisan Sanji Tarba, the Tamji Kovatoba, Lam Yamlen Chigore. The Java and the Karishingo said, Tambonzo, she Namsha said, she Lam Jevus, Chisan she Namsha, and the Lam Dripi Rimba, the Lam Tambo she Namsha, the Karakare, says Shinga Chiche. That in she Namshin, the Lam Yamlen Jetala, Kaneka Chigores, Lam Dripi Rimba. The Lam Din Yamlen Jabal, then Tebu Karakara Yungurs, and Din Yamlen Jena. Tarva Kiwachima, and Lada Muko top to Gure, Denis Yamne Jevana, Tarva top to Gure, Denis Tobana, and Jevu Sanjoko top to Gure, David Namshati, Denis the New York Shihora, she Namsha, Lamye Namsha, David Namshati, Shingo Wadamo.
In order to attain the state of perfection, one needs to train in the path or train in cultivating mental paths. In order to be able to do so, one needs to have the required basis and engage in the cultivation of paths in order to achieve that result. So here then one needs to come to understand these three terms well: basis, path and result. What is meant by basis? What are the various stages of the paths, the mental paths to be cultivated, and how to do so? And then what are these results that one is striving for? So these would be the three results you've heard many times: a good rebirth as a human or God, and on that basis striving to achieve liberation or freedom from suffering, and striving even beyond that for the third result, full and complete enlightenment.
She Namja Lavende, she Namja Tela di Yungurua de Bene, Monjur said, Jose Kokur said, Shindu Kokur Sene, and the Zikla Sumungurua, Monjur said, Jose Kokur, then the Shindu Kokur Sen, and the Shingo Ricti in the Yungurua.
The Shida.
Sum.
She
Monjur. She Namja, she and the Kalokar Sene. Monjur said, Shingo Ricarishingo, Monjur say, and how Goya Rictilla, Udelamazona, Monjur said, and the Kokur, Jose Kokur said, Shindu Kokur said, the Riksumungurua.
The basis then can be understood as what is to be known. And here, what is to be known? There are those objects to be known which are manifest to oneself. There's secondly those which are hidden to oneself, and those which are very hidden. So the basis has three divisions. The basis are objects, and the first object would be that with those which are manifest, the second group, those which are hidden, and the third group are those which are very hidden.
Denige hakugandi lores ngadu shebares sheba lo hakugore jire dane dine lo hakugona dan hagu lo chasange hagu lo ganesina hakugore besene o da dila lorik mida dene yores ne lo yik namdang kyabardi shigorwa.
The basis then has these three divisions of objects. Who comes to know these objects? This is awareness or consciousness that comes to know, or knower that comes to know the objects. So it's consciousness that comes to know these objects, those which are manifest, hidden, and very hidden. And then how does one come to understand consciousness? Through this presentation of awareness and knowers. It's through the presentation of awareness and knowers, lo and rig, that one comes to know awarenesses, knowers, and consciousness, all that which knows objects. The basis then is this division of objects into three, and these are known through awareness. And if we say then what divisions are awareness? If objects are divided into three, how are awarenesses divided? How does one come to understand awareness? So that here's the sevenfold division. And here we have valid cognizers, inferential valid cognizers, correct assumption, subsequent cognizers, non-ascertaining awarenesses, doubt, and wrong consciousnesses. So this is the famous sevenfold division of awareness and knowers, or the sevenfold division of Lorig. So to say it again, we have direct valid cognizers, inferential valid cognizers, correct assumption, subsequent cognition, non-ascertaining awarenesses, doubt, and wrong consciousnesses. So that's the sevenfold division of Lorig.
Denigi jisan hagu khandela yang jingazu ngunju hagu khandela an denigi ombe sheba sha da dene ombe sheba sha ngoro an denigi 당원주기 ombe sheba hagu madugen다 대시 kokyu sha de 중세 kokyu sha 신도 kokyu sha de 다 간에서 하고 로간지 하고 그러려나 와시디기 또 그래서나 와시 하고 말해서 대하고는 수리에서는 제바 참마세 하고 제바 참마세 하고 그래서 난 제바 참마들라 난 제바 참마세 시행으로
그래서 데네디 문두 하고 켄데 왕키 셰바 왕비 셰바 하고 그래 왕봉은 좀 셈세 왕비 셰바 So the basis then is presented as objects, which has this threefold division. And then we hear that awareness is what comes to know these objects, and awareness can be divided into seven. So then if we say, so let's now look at those three objects, those three types of objects, manifest, hidden, and very hidden. What are the consciousnesses or the awarenesses that know these differing divisions of objects? So the manifest objects which are manifest to us, would be, for example, form, sound, taste, touch, and smell. So the five objects of the five senses. And the objects of the five senses are known by their respective sense consciousness. consciousnesses. So, for example, form is known by the eye sense consciousness, sound is known by the ear sense consciousness, and so forth. So there's the 5 sense consciousnesses which match to their respective manifest objects. And then for hidden and very hidden, these objects, which are hidden or very hidden, cannot be known by sense consciousnesses. They can be known rather by inferential valid cognizers. So the second 2 division of bases, or the second way to divide objects, hidden and very hidden, are known by inferential valid cognizers. Die Mundu Kogyur, die Nishintu Mundu Kogyur, die Jepak Shingirebe.
제가 중수의 가교를 해야 된 신도 고교의 제박이 또 하나마도 왕식이 또 말과 제박도 그러시죠. 네. 나는 이제 되네 자당 저 셰바들랑 저 셰바들 파그 예와 체샤바는 뒤샤바는 니나는 뒤로 그래서 이기 셰바세다 왕셰세 니 대상 마선의 이기 셰바다 왕셰세 대생이 차로 그러와.
Consciousness can be divided in many ways. We mentioned a 7-fold division. Now, there's also a 2-fold division one can make, dividing consciousness into mental and sense, mental consciousness and sense consciousnesses.
제가 왕셰다 이기 셰바니 니기나 뒤에도 왕셰들라 가려서는 되네 아주 미기 셰바 나위 셰바 네이 셰바 지 셰바 류기 셰바스 딩아들 왕셰서 디가서 왕부 수전발에 되네 그런 다긴 유다긴 투모마이 왕부 수전발에 되네 게네 아니 유 수트라디로 라차 통한 셰바들라 왕부 셰바를 거다.
When consciousness is divided into this 2-fold division of sense consciousnesses and mental consciousnesses, then the sense consciousnesses are 5-fold, the eye sense consciousness, the ear sense consciousness, and so forth. What distinguishes these is that for example, the eye sense consciousness arises independence on a physical sense power. Its empowering condition is the eye sense power. So sense consciousness arises independence on an empowering condition, which is a physical sense power. For example, the eye sense consciousness arises independence on its empowering condition, which is the eye sense power. And that would be the same for the other 4 sense consciousnesses. They all arise independence on their empowering condition, which is a physical sense power, such as the eye sense power, the ear sense power, and so forth.
지난데 왕셰가 유반자 왕셰 코로나 나로를 파 대선 체바이나 대 왕셰들 유 당보 또 한기데 계제 당보데 체마세 직샤 되네 또 안에 계진 이버 숨바까지 줘바네 난데서 제시해서자 체마다 제시해서 왕셰디 나로 안에 양지 유 마초에네 유낭나야 마초아제 유또 마도가 있나 나나 망해 봐서지 아 유들에 나 그런 게 나와 나신 돈다를 매주긴 록시 진도바네 록시에서지
록시기 콜레양께서는
록시 그런 게 나와 나신 매바 진도바이나 록시에서 지자 와시 디나로라 가리는 것은 세마 제시 나라마 록시에서 힐리고다
The 5 sense powers then, the 5 sense consciousnesses arise independent on their a unique empowering condition, a physical sense power. And so that's what we've just heard. Now we can tie this up to the other way of dividing minds, which is the 7-fold division. So let's bring these 2 together a little bit. So when an object of the eye sense consciousness is observed, we have the eye sense consciousness arising independence on its uncommon empowering condition, which is the eye sense power, and then the physical object, the form, is observed. The very first moment that this eye sense consciousness observes the object will appear to it in a manner that is unmistaken and it is realized. So this is a direct valid cognizer. The very first moment is a direct valid cognizer. So that was one of the sevenfold division. The second and subsequent moments are subsequent cognizers. That's a second of the sevenfold division. Should the object, though, appear in a way that is unmistaken, but it is not ascertained or realized by the consciousness, then this is a non-ascertaining awareness. So the object is unmistaken. It appears in an unmistaken way, but it's not ascertained. It's not realized by the consciousness. And then this is another of the sevenfold division, non-ascertaining awareness. Because the object has appeared correctly, unmistakenly, but it's not ascertained. On the other hand, should the object that appears to the consciousness appear in a way that it doesn't exist, then that consciousness is a wrong consciousness. So here we're seeing of the sevenfold division of awareness, how four of them can apply here. So we had the very first moment where the object appears in an unmistaken way and an incontrovertible way. That then is a direct valid cognizer. Each subsequent moment is no longer a direct valid cognizer, but is rather a subsequent cognizer. On the other hand, should the object appear in an unmistaken manner but not be ascertained, it's a non-ascertaining awareness. On the other hand, should the object appear but not in the way that it exists, that is a wrong consciousness. So those are four of the seven: wrong conscious, non-ascertaining, direct valid cognition, and subsequent cognition.
That one shall let you that one she was not really been Migi Sheba. Migi won't be on some labio because Migi Sheba labio, Migi Sheba de let Sama Yungure, Geshe Yungure, Nalama Yungure, Loshe Sunga Yungure, Shiga Yungura. Dinajin Navi Shebala and Sama Yore, Geshe Yore, Nalama by Loshe Yore. The J Shebala, Ne Sheba, the Lugi Sheba Chazala, and Dinaji Sheba Chibata.
The illustration just given was for the I-sense consciousness, which arises independent on its own unique empowering condition, the I-sense power, and observes a physical object, object of form. And then, as we saw how the first moment of that is a direct valid cognizer, each subsequent moment of that will be no longer a direct valid cognizer, but rather a subsequent cognizer. If the object appears to the I-sense consciousness, but isn't, and in an unmistaken way, but is not ascertained, it's a non-ascertaining awareness. If the object appears to the consciousness, but in a way that it doesn't exist, it's a wrong consciousness. And this, though, applies for all five sense consciousnesses. The illustrations for an I-sense consciousness, something we see, it's the same with something we hear, smell, taste, or touch. The first moment when the object appears unmistakenly is a valid cognizer. Its subsequent moment is a subsequent cognizer. If it appears in a way, appears in an unmistaken way but is not ascertained, it's non-ascertaining. And if it appears in a way it doesn't exist, it's a wrong consciousness. To whichever of the sense consciousnesses the object appears.
Migi Shebala and the Chamasia Chavena, Dambong Zugi, Jisukshilet, Medoina, Shingina, Jalachi, Tong, Dambo, Hakugan, Kiji Dambo, the Chamachi, Dene, Kiji Niban, Hakugan, Kiji Niba Sumba Chadu, Jishesa Chagore, Chamada Jishesa.
Take an easy illustration with that of an I-sense consciousness which observes a flower. So the first moment that the I-sense consciousness observes the flower is a valid cognizer. Each subsequent cognition is each subsequent moment is no longer a valid cognizer, but a subsequent cognizer. So from the second moment onwards, it's now a subsequent cognizer.
Nangla Mangaba Lavio do Samlo de Pechik, bene Geshe da Geshe Nyebujina Geshe Gechimbu Shujilia Nyendobaina, Sem the Chasan Amchu Geshe Nyedil Shuk de la Tangje, Tangshabi Kabla, and another Dundua, Chikjalaro, Suru, Tona, Miglia, Suru, not a Nangor, in a Togo Mare, Denigi, Dikabji, one shady, Miu Suk Tombi, one shady, Karsore. Wanshidi, Nala Mangabari, Nala Mangabari. Person called Nangor, the Togo Mare, and Jesu and the Chikisha, Zamjaje, to the Odejing Jimmy, Lijik Tons, the Karanadi, drinking the Jik Tons, some mother, Dirias and Dirias said, how to go, Marwa. Chesa, Dejing to the some of the Yiki Shepherd, the Amchog in Yalia, tell us some Chasa, the hair shook kept Tanshadu, Miglia, Chusuru, Nasuna, Dimato Begi. Wanshidi, Nala Mabare, quite Su the Nangor, the Ine, Nawa, Najiko Matubare, the Nichilla, Nala Lossi, Wanshid, Migi Shepade.
An illustration then of a non-ascertaining awareness, or to translate it in a different way, an awareness to which the object appears, but the object is not ascertained. An illustration would be when we're listening to something very important and we're listening intensely and with concentration, then we're listening then with our ear sense consciousness. But objects may appear to our eye sense consciousness. It's not that our eyes are closed. There may be objects appearing to, we may be seeing things, so there are objects appearing to our eye sense consciousnesses. But what appears to the eye sense consciousness is not being realized, it's not being ascertained. And that is because what we're hearing, we are ascertaining that, so we're concentrating on this important news. But what we're seeing is being seen, it's appearing, but it's not being realized. So therefore, this eye sense consciousness is a non-ascertaining awareness. We haven't realized the object. We cannot say with any certainty afterwards, oh yes, while I was listening to this important information, I also saw this and I saw that. We can't say that because what appeared was not ascertained. So forms appeared, but were not realized.
Dini Yoban, and Washigi, many Drishu, Sampige, Tesum to Topake, Washe del Driru, Nangore, Nangche, Washe du Driru, Zingore, in a Dondala Dri Maro, Chidan Denigo Washe Dige, Washe Loshe Sended. And Dinashing how to get me Wombola, Tushin, name jet, Pata to Chalani Nangutua, Chizani now and Ashin did Zinduban, Denigo Washe Dige, Washe Loshe. Chizan Washe Loshe in Pedro, Pecendo dinner.
Then I can need Nangye, they call it.
In his name, need Hungdua. And they need Hungdua. Nina Tuana, Yomarua, said, Do you want to your Loshe?
The illustration for wrong consciousness, the one that we've heard most commonly, especially in the context of the Prasangika, is when one sees a coiled spotted rope, but mistakes it for being a snake. So one sees perhaps in dim light that there is a snake, but actually it's a coiled rope. So here this eye sense consciousness that to which a coiled rope appears as a snake, here this is a wrong consciousness. It's a wrong consciousness because it's not a snake, it's just a coiled rope. So the object doesn't appear in the way that it exists. Another often repeated illustration is if one is looking at something and presses one's eye, then when one removes one's finger, the object appears double. So the object is only a singular, but due to placing pressure on the eyeball, one sees two. Now that eye sense consciousness is of course wrong, because there is only one object. So here, the object appears in a way that it doesn't exist.
Sema Geshe Nalama Loshe Sedi, Washe Shigal Ligore, Dinaji Yigi Shebalaya, and Sema Yongre, and Nalamanga Yongre, and Loshe Yongre, Geshe Yongre, Yigi Shebala, Sema Yore, Geshe Yore, and Nalama Yore, and Negaso Loshe Yorwa. Washe Shigala, Sema Geshe Nalamanga Base Chasayoba Jibache. Then Yigi Shebalaya. 아니 참아 제시 나나마 록셰세 대시 미기 셰바난 자 셰바나신 차산에 다이 시가 연구를 시시 연구를 와.
What has now been presented is how these four minds of valid cognition, subsequent cognition, non-ascertaining awareness, and wrong consciousnesses can all come about to can all relate to any of the five sense consciousnesses. Similarly, all four can also relate to the mental consciousness. So the mental consciousness can be a valid cognizer, can be a subsequent cognizer, the mental consciousness can be a non-ascertaining awareness, and the mental consciousness can also be a wrong consciousness.
지상 왕셰라야 아니 참마 지시 나라모 록셰 요래 아니 이기 셰발레 참마 지시 나라모 록셰세 요래세 디라요도 단다나 디기 가르간줄라 가르랍지 티고르세네 나라주기 셰비 통제 탐제라 덴벌지요 말레스 텔라 노트 망고레스 오니 하고한 요래 노트 요래 지상 만주미 통제 탐제 옹이 통소 디 덴바레랍나 디 노트 요르 디가서 왕셰데 록셰 요래 나나마 요르 와서 근데 이기 셰바 옹이디 통소 아니 지기 디제라 삼바이나 아니 니하고서 옹이디 갈레 로레 나서 삼바이나 데라 나나마 록셰 요래 지상 디니 심바이나 루이 삼지 탐제라 딱다요 말에 지상 디니 인자 만주기 델야 람사 왕시 나와다 이 삼로 나로 코와 차상 덴버진제 아니 셴래 코로나야다 셴래 차바제야다 셴량아 예제야다 어두시겨 말 지상 디니 인자 디니기 토네 냥아 첨보여 지상 데스르 삽섭제지 디니기 토는 람사 안델야 차고마제야다 코로마제지 심주제제 유딜의 심주제 대신 이 통화나 신제 따다레도 민도 제바제도는 세명에 번 내용을 제가 디니기 인상 개발 어디 대수기 니수 신바는 신비기 개발 연대가를 열어서는 데니기 람사 차범마기야다 안되샤마기야다 코로마기야다 나게마기야다 뇨모바기게디 식디 람사 마기어 연구해서 그러다.
In the introduction thus far, we've said how consciousness can be divided in different ways. Two ways of dividing were presented, one being the sevenfold division that's the most commonly presented, sevenfold division of Lorig, and then we also presented, in brief, the twofold division into sense consciousnesses and mental consciousness. And then we've talked further about that sense consciousnesses can be valid cognizers, subsequent cognizers, non-ascertaining awarenesses, and wrong consciousnesses. And all five can be. Moreover, so too can the mental consciousness. It can be a valid cognizer, it can be subsequent, it can be non-ascertaining, and it can be a wrong consciousness. So the key point here to understand is, why do we need to know this? Because when we gather this knowledge and we reflect on it and come to understand it well, we start to gain conviction that things do not necessarily exist in the way that we perceive them to. We start to understand that what we observe, either through our sense or mental consciousnesses, is not necessarily reliable. In fact, it's often mistaken. This is very important. This is leading towards the purpose of our endeavors here with the subject of Lorig. We're trying to shake up our grasping at reality. It's because we grasp at things as existing in a way that they don't, that desire and attachment arises, and anger arises. So in order to reduce the strength of our afflicted minds, we need to reduce our grasping that things exist in a way that is not in accordance with reality. And to the extent that we can weaken that grasping, to that extent our afflictions will weaken. To the extent that we do grasp, to that extent will be the strength of our afflictions, the strength of our attachment, the strength of our anger. So therefore, We put this energy into understanding this presentation on Buddhist psychology so that we can understand that the way we perceive the world and the way the world exists is not necessarily correct. Start to have some doubt. Open our minds up to a new possibility.
가르스로 세 미기 통 녀마 미기 뭐고 통 맨에 지게 동아요 두자 제바다 소소 나마도 뭐고 통 아니 저 암초래 직 미년바 두자 뭐고 아니 지게 로로서는 로마신바로 진야하다 두로는 략샤 아니 지게 주부다 야고매바녀하다 되는 게야도 되는 그 왕식이 통에도 왕식이 제수장 제 녀마 숙민주버지 통와 있나 아니 지게 디 대래야 왕시디기 니초 나도 니기 지수잖아 아니 주미지 조다지 대래 잡아야다 주미지기 조다지 주미지기 조다지 그지 잡아 가지래다 주미지 말하나 왕시기 숙민지고 통에도 수 통에도 왕시디기 지수자제 남도 제초 게야다 안지 남도 다마르게 대안에 잡아게야 야도 콘로게야 안지 야는 가야게야 데네자 암주고 왕시게 자 나유시베 자 통유도 자 직주로제 민년벌 거에나 내가 진 디지에서 장데 콘트게야 대년벌로 지게 거야 되는 내가 디지에서 잡아게야 어디나 신경도 디로 야자 차상이야 세상은 망체지 왕시기 지수라데 아니 디지게 직제세 왕시기 망부 통의 디레샤 니레샤 디티기미도 디야고라 디야고면도세 어디니제 남도 다마라 계진 아니 그 콘라야 돼 밀을 견주세야 야 암족이 직자오면 고여도 안디 어디 거 딜랍송 거 디라야 디기미도 니 디기미 숨지디 야고라샤 먼저 도세 밀을 견주세야 다 밀을 땡에 따야 차상 차방에 차상 마냥 하고 숙시 왕시기 지수라 리고래 진짜 되는 현장 왕시디게 제수 장례 반자 당아도 냠는 집이 갑라 왕벽고 담바시디 제자 왕시디게 차바기야다 세단게 유초려야 마다와 제파 잼제 가자고레스 디네 가샤바이나 안소수라나기 안에 차단게 해야지 용주고레스 제자 디네자 냠내 야가 용고레스 디네 인자 당아도 왕시기 남자의 신바이나 차고 용서디 간에 용구도 간에 용구도 세비가 하고 제자 디 용도 하고 용도 디 송급제에 대한 아니 간에치네 가투세에 간에치네 매바차도 송급제다 하고도 그래.
When you take this presentation and investigate and apply it to oneself, one will see the relationship between this presentation of Buddhist psychology and our suffering. Because a lot of our suffering comes about through what we observe, through our sense consciousnesses, or through what appears, the objects that appear to our sense consciousnesses. So, for example, when we see a person that we don't like, someone that we don't get on with, there's our visual object. We see them through our sense consciousness, our eye sense consciousness, and through that, afflictions then follow. First, we have this improper mental attention, and then afflictions, such as anger, will arise. Well, likewise, if we hear something we don't want to hear, perhaps we hear criticism, or someone's blaming us, so we're hearing something. So here's an object, it's sound, and this object appears to our ear sense consciousness, and then through improper mental attention following, we give rise to our afflictions. Again, perhaps such as anger. We don't want to hear this. We want to push that sound away or that person away. And of course, this is the case then for all our senses. Not just sight and sound, but smell. Through smelling something we don't like, or tasting something we don't like, or a tactile sensation we don't like, improper mental attention follows from the sense consciousness, and then an affliction such as anger. And of course also, not just afflictions such as anger, but also those such as desire and attachment. When we see something desirable, or hear something that we enjoy, or taste, or smell, or touch, then again, the object, this object that appears to the sense consciousness is followed by improper mental attention and various afflictions, such as attachment. So when you come to see this sequence, if we have a genuine wish to practice the Buddha Dharma, to gain experience of the Buddha Dharma, we will see that the cause of so much of our mental agitation comes through our sense doors, through our sense consciousnesses. And therefore, and then seeing this, therefore through seeing this, we'll want to restrict what we interact with. We want to quieten down the objects that we come into contact with. We'll want to close our sense doors. And we'll be wanting to do this so as to aid our practice, because we'll have seen that it's largely through our sense doors that our minds end up becoming, our conceptual minds end up being very disturbed and distracted because of these variety of objects that we see, hear, taste, touch, or smell. So this too is a great benefit that comes through understanding Buddhist psychology well.
내가 저기 삼나 당배인데 저기 지망 제대 안에 녀마 딘딘딘 정소에 디제선 선배기 되네 녀마게 된지 될이야 남도 담아라게다 안에야 마음바나 응알이야 변에 잘라 응아닝지고 되네 고우 선배기 미게 통하게 잘라 고우세 되네 그 소수기 마음부게 삼 디라야게 된다라 삼다 디 된다라 차당 지수 줘야다 되네 망칭아도 삼로 되네 시리고 와야줄라
Den Danta Kerang Ngawang Sungmepe.
Ngawang Sungmepe. Jidang Namdo Jampa Liadi, Washiki Nyama Toyata, Maobana Toyago, Mundugi, Devas Di Dundala, Namdo Jamara, Igiro, Washi, Jesu Janti, Diro.
And moreover, in dependence on what we have observed through our sense consciousnesses in the past, a lot of mental disturbance comes about from that. We recall things from the past. And this, despite the event of what we've seen or heard being some time ago, this continues to disturb our mind. And then likewise, thinking about what we hope to come across in the future, that too leads to mental disturbance.
원주리에서와다 와시게 또 마투에게 김전 삼다제 또에게 유디게 아니 가서래 꼭규리에서 지금 저 디셰로 다 되니기 꼭규를 또한 최대 수도고는 제바 참아서 도고래 제바게 도고래서 아니 이기셰비게 와다 이기셰바 참아다 지셰디기 꼭규 최디게 도고래 원주리 최도 도고래 와시디게 원주를 최마도 고기를 최되게 도고 말하지. 제상 고기를 최도 한다. 원주를 최도 하는 수레에서는 왕시의 이신이게 도고래서 저기 지금 봐셔라. 다시 해야 돼. 안다 고기를 최다 원주를 최되게 왕시게 도고래 이기시베 도반자 거도 고기를 최요래 가서는 이기시베 도고로 와서 원주를 최요래 가서는 왕시게 도고로 와서. 다디나 안에 왕시에당 이기시베디게 코로나도 여바도 수하고 그래서 그렇다. 대수 도고래라나 와시에 코롱기 코롱 도구리 베스는 코롱 도구 말레스 이기시바 코롱 도구 베스는 코롱 도구 민도하스 안다 코롱기 수 도구는 안다 이기시바 와시 여바 수하고 그래 수 도구래람 대 라릭세디오래 제디도 한 라릭세디오래 딜밍 가 코롱 도한 셰바 코롱 도 되긴들 라릭세디오래 시고라.
Earlier we spoke about that when we looked at or mentioned the basis, the path and the result, but the basis is devised of objects, manifest, hidden and very hidden. Then we spoke about who comes to know the objects, and that was awareness or consciousness, knowers. Now we've been looking at the division of awareness or consciousness into sense consciousnesses and mental consciousness. Sense consciousness, these five know manifest objects and manifest objects only. Hidden objects, they are known through reasoning. So reasoning, analysis, is not related to a sense consciousness, but this is now mental consciousness. and of the differing mental consciousnesses, in particular the inferential valid cognizers. It's these that come to know hidden objects. So how do we know that manifest objects exist? Because we realize them through our sense consciousnesses. How do you know that hidden objects exist? Because we realize them through our mental consciousnesses, for example, the inferential valid cognizers. But how do we know then whether those realizing consciousnesses, whether they exist themselves? So we have objects which are realized by consciousness. But then, how do we know those consciousnesses exist? Well, because they don't know themselves. They require something else. They require a self-knower.
나는 라릭세리 유바는 라릭세 간지 제일랍도다 라릭 코롱의 생이체 여와제 안에 수명 니용고로와.
There's a self-knower that knows the consciousness, and the consciousness is what knows the object. Now we come to the presentation on page 4 of self-knowers, which as we see is divided into definition, divisions, and illustrations.
라릭데라 가서래 세마요래 지셰요래 나라마바요래 수명고래 록셰세도 요마 라릭데라 록셰요 말해서
수명교?
세마요래 지셰요래 나라마바요래 수명고래 지셰 다 록셰세데 라릭라 록셰요 말해서
Self-knowers can be valid cognizers, they can be non-ascertaining awarenesses, and they can be subsequent cognizers. They cannot be wrong consciousnesses.
다 라릭라 안에 똑바요 말해서 차상 웃음장 라릭이나 웃음이고 그러마다 라릭라 똑바요 말해서 대지디나je 왕시들라 똑바요 말해서 왕시들라 똑바요 말해 안에 이시디나라 이기셰바디나라 똑바요래 웃음요래 니가 용거래 안데 대지 이용 록셰 용거래 이기셰바디나라 똑바요래 록셰요래 웃음요래 차상요래 이기셰바나라 록셰요래 가서 똑바요래 웃음요래 왕시들라 웃음마도 가서 똑바요 말해 안에 왕시라 똑바요 말해 라릭라 똑바요 말해
So self-knowers are only direct perceivers. Are only direct. They cannot be conceptual consciousnesses. So self-knowers are not conceptual consciousnesses, only direct perceivers. Sense consciousnesses cannot be conceptual consciousnesses either. Mental consciousnesses, they can be both direct and conceptual. So to say that again then. So self-knowers are only direct. Self-knowers cannot be conceptual. So too with sense consciousnesses, they also cannot be conceptual. Mental consciousnesses, on the other hand, can be both direct and conceptual.
이기 셰바는 이용었음 지와 말아와. 근데 다 라릭세디게 원숨마도요 말해. 라릭 원숨 다라 지발. 다 라릭세디 생일에 갈라고 해서는 간치려고 해서는 진남라고 해. 진남 세디 라릭이 생일에 라릭세디 간치 진남 세디라 라릭라그래라.
Bendigo something ideengola rangrik adang
원숨 지발에 민카가마다 라릭 원숨 랍나다 라릭 랍나다 돈다 지발에.
In the text, we start here with the definition of a self-knower. So here, before we look at that, a self-knower and the next definition, the self-knowing direct perceiver, these two are the same. There's no difference between them. They have different definitions, but a self-knower is a self-knowing direct perceiver. They are the same.
난 진남남나 가로전에 지당 한주그 송화 세다 진바스니 치올 송화 남나 셰바 마인 켄기 유디게를 송화라고 그래. 근데 숙자 듀 리액차 데메티시 셰바 마인은 딱봐 최망고여로 셰바 마인은 최 차상을야 송화라고 그래. แต่셰바라 진바라고 그래. 진바라고 그래. 写几张鱼的了松花的金巴是你去对写把满眼车上去的了松花，的呢写把的了金巴是可能是金巴了和鱼去经过了话写把的了，其实写把了名写把的了金巴了对，那么写把了过的金巴了对。
See here in the definition of a self-knower, that which has an aspect of an apprehender. So apprehender sounds a little strange to have this noun. To understand an apprehender, we need to understand perhaps its partner, an apprehended. So an object is the apprehended, and that's something that is not consciousness. It is apprehended. Consciousness does the apprehending, so it is the apprehender. So we have the apprehender, which is apprehending, the apprehended. The apprehended is the object which isn't consciousness. The apprehender is consciousness. In other contexts, this is the word is translated as grasp. So that gives you a flavor. In this context, apprehender and apprehended.
Lorig said the Zinnam love the Radical Yu Zinia the Carson, Yu Zimbaji Sheba Zingores, Korong Zinda Yu the Shebares, Sheba Zingores, Chesa Sheba Zinje, the Niki Shebig number change his or Zinnam said, call a number shell to the current number show, Sheba chicken number shell gores, Koron Zinia the Yu Sheba Zingores. Mother Shen Zingoma, Sheba like Jambik, Suda, Demedis lost or Shakaya Zingoma, Lorig said he. Chesam Korong Zinda, you did Zinheg, Zindela, Zinhedi, Sheba Zindu. Chesam call Sheba Zindu Inza, call you Zinda, you did Sheba Inza, call him Ming Zinnam, like what it's Zinnam.
So that hopefully gives an idea what apprehender means. The aspect of an apprehender. The self-knower, it apprehends consciousness. And consciousness is what we just heard, is the apprehender. The apprehended would be the object such as a form. And the form, which is the apprehended, is apprehended by the apprehender, which is consciousness. Consciousness is apprehended by the self-knower. So therefore, it is the self-knower is in the aspect of the apprehender, is in the aspect of consciousness. It's not in the aspect of form or non-associated composite. It's only in the aspect of consciousness, or as the definition says, the aspect of an apprehender.
Rang Riklado so Toba said Legurva. Chesa Sheba Dilla, China Sheba Kandishine, Koron la Chinese Yungres, Rangni, Soso Rang Tobi Chachida, Yu Toba Chachi Yungur, Yu Zimbi Chachida, Rani Zimbi Ni Yungures, Chesa Rani Zimbi Chadella, Rarik, Yu Zimbi Chadella, and then she and Sheba said Shagores. Ben Lolo Chasho, Law Digasane, Law Juban, Law Korongi, Koron Sawares, Chisa, Korongi Zukshanadi, Sayagi, Nubachi, Segor, but Law Parshavan, Jalashanda Totogura, Chisa Logi, Nushan Sayu Nubachi, Shan Sawachi, or Shan Segores, Chisa Logi, Shan Samaduna, Law Bana, Jaladi Tontumarwa, Logi, Shan Segores, Chisa, Shan Sadi, Law Shebagi. Yu Shanadi Tong the Bitchy Bari. That law Korongi, Corona Segor, Gassing do study law person, Corona Zena, law by the law the Tungbarwa, just a law Corona Segores, Coron Sawa Dedang, Sheba Korongi, Rani Topadi, Rani the Chigurani Topa Chipare, just a Sheba Karinchna, Rani, Rani Tope Chadi, Radis, Rani, Gasso Yu Shan, Do Zimbe Chadi, Shandy Shebares, on to see what you got.
Die Logik oder Log der Kolleginnen.
Lord Parshavena, Sukti, and Nogunali, the Jala Tungmen, Lord Parsha, Seguro, Lord Digi, Shan, Sushanati, Sawachi, Nuba, Sertugorva, Segorva, Tontu, Datugoro, Sertugore. And then that Lord Parsha, Corona Sagmena, Lord Parshavena, 现在通过的罗可龙同样没有下的话，就是今天上罗可龙呢，让萨维塞于女巴吉达，先萨瓦你该用过的，第那先先把啦先与金币的金巴吉达，让你的金巴吉恰你用过的，就是让你金币恰的让这个人让这个说让这个，先来金币的先把恰的了，先这个来过的，是这些过来。
Look at the etymology of the term self-knower. So from the etymology we can see that it knows itself, it realizes itself. And this can be understood then through that consciousness, we can say, has two parts. Any consciousness, any consciousness has two parts. One is the self-knower, that part of the consciousness which knows itself, and there's another part of the consciousness which knows or realizes the object. Another way to express that is any consciousness has two parts. One knows itself, is a self-knower. The other one, which knows or realizes the object, is an other-knower. So every consciousness has these two parts. And this can perhaps be illuminated through the illustration of electricity or light, electric light. It both illuminates an object as well as itself. So in the same way as electricity or light illuminates an object, so too does it illuminate itself. It itself isn't left in the darkness, and only the object illuminated. But then to go back to consciousness, any consciousness has two parts. The one knows itself, a self-knower. The other part knows something other than itself, the object, and that is the other knower.
yu shen sheba le shen bi yu deme de chen zu la so ba me sim be sheba chores de la ran la go re se ko go da don da la ran la de ko rong yu jin ye yu di sheba ma do shen deme de je yo ma res su yo ma res che san deme de je no su ka ya ma zin ba che ko rong yu jin ye di sheba chi bu jin de gen gi sheba chor wa de la de ji la ran la go re che da ran se de ma zo yo lo cha yo de Demeteje no sula sopa kaya mazimbache sheba chibu zindihenji lochi gores on dinishi dal rari la gores lo chai dini chao oranzo.
The key point then to remember here is that a self-knower only knows or realizes consciousness, only consciousness. When impermanent phenomena are divided, they're divided into three: form, consciousness, and non-associated composites. Of those three, the self-knower only knows consciousness. It doesn't know form or non-associated composites. Self-knower only knows form, only knows consciousness.
Korong yu zinda yu de sheba, zin si de sheba lo kokorwa, zinbe namba jen la de korong yu di, korong yu zinda yu de sheba chi zindingen chi la, ane la gore se di kwaya che rangrik se de. Da rangrik ngosum se tsing sha korwa, da rangrik ngosum la yu de tokpa dan chayshing matu yu zinnam se korda, deli ya, deshi rangrik tsing sha zinnam se tung tung sha de wada, da ngosum yu tsing sha de tuyas maa, tuyas kya, 자기를 따라 제가 또바단 자신 마추위 진남스 진짜 라링 옷음 데라 가로스는 또바만 임베시고 그래서 대나 유라 마추와 진고 그래서 아니 진남 진빈나 바 진빈나 바 진고 그래서 진짜 라링 옷음 데라.
Again then, a self-knower, it has as its object of the mode of apprehension consciousness and consciousness alone. Then let's look at come to the second definition, that of a self-knowing direct perceiver. So we'll see it has two parts to it. The first is the same definition as that of a self-knower, that which has an aspect of an apprehender. And then there's the second part, which is the definition from direct perception. It is non-conceptual and unmistaken. Self-knowing direct perceiver is that which has the aspect of an apprehender, is non-conceptual, and is unmistaken.
다네 라링 모습들라 예와 가르요레스나 다 예와 시시용도와 라링 모습도 기베 라링 모습도 기베스 라링 모습 인간색으로 라링 모습도 기베 체마 아니 라링 모습도 기베 제시 라링 모습에 나라망을 봐 세주 숨샤고를 지사 라링 모습 인간 체마 인간 지교레스 라링 모습 인간 제시 인간 요레 라링 모습 인간 나라망을 인간 요레스 디숨마도 록시요 말레스 그러다
Immediately beneath that we have the divisions of self-knowing direct perceivers. We have valid cognizers that are self-knowing direct perceivers, subsequent cognizers that are self-knowing direct perceivers, and non-ascertaining awarenesses that are self-knowing direct perceivers. Earlier this evening when we spoke about the sevenfold division of mind and how some of them can relate to various sense consciousnesses, we spoke about these three, but also wrong consciousnesses. But we see a self-knowing direct perceiver cannot be a wrong consciousness, can only be either a valid cognizer, subsequent cognizer, or non-ascertaining awareness.
안에 라리오 모습이긴 세마이긴데 sensitive 간에 샤그리 랍나 베네 미기 셰바 냠손유가 라리 모습 계지 당보서 다디 계지 당보디 세마레스 미기 모습 냠손유 라리께 계지 당보 세마레스.
And we have the illustration of the first type of valid cognizers that are self-knowing direct perceivers. For example, the first moment of a self-knowing direct perceiver that experiences an eye consciousness.
다 미기 셰바 냠손유가 라리 모습 계지 니바디 다 제시레스.
And the illustration of a subsequent cognizer that is a self-knowing direct perceiver is at the second moment of a self-knowing direct perceiver that experiences an eye consciousness.
나네 라리 모습이게 나라망아 볼로디 간에 샤기리 랍나 다 데서 디샤고레 베네 자젠비 규기 대화 셰바 임바 냠손유가 라리 모습세 아주게 치로 장젠바세 지어와 콘주기래 대화 지어와 콘주기 대화디 수그리라 거래다 콘주기 수기 바기 셰바 켈링고 바로와 그래서 다 콘주기래 대화디 오늘 전에 셰바르와 셰바레도 안주 삼단에 아주 셰바르와 대화디 셰바르와 초와 대화 초와레 되어와 그래서 데니기 셰바자 디셰바 냠손유가 라리 지어레 이나디 냠녀소 라리 지기 대화디 또도 셰바 임바도 또고 말했어 난고르도 또고 말해지래 그래서 그 나라만 불러야지.
The third division, non-ascertaining awareness, self-knowing direct perceivers. Here we have three illustrations below. So the first one, a self-knowing direct perceiver in the continuum of a samkhya that experiences bliss as being a consciousness. So I'm rather going to translate bliss here and in the next one as happiness. It's the same word in Tibetan. Some translators sometimes use bliss, otherwise happiness. So we'll use happiness here. So this then relates to the view of the non-Buddhist school, the Samkhyas, that they hold that happiness is form, it's not consciousness. So when we think of feeling is divided into three, one of which is happiness, feelings of happiness. So they say this is not consciousness, this is form. So because for their tenet, they say that happiness is form, then they will hold that it's not consciousness and therefore cannot have a self-knower. So that self-knower, therefore, that arises for them, because they don't accept the object as consciousness, would have to be non-ascertaining. And it will be non-ascertaining because it doesn't realize its object, because they say the object is form. And it's the same now for the second illustration we have here for the third point. a self-knowing direct perceiver in the continuum of a Vaisheshika that experiences happiness as being a consciousness. So they too, like the Samkhyas, say that the feeling of happiness is form, not consciousness. So here, this then self-knower is an awareness that appears, but is not. But because the awareness of happiness is not accepted as an awareness, it is therefore not ascertained. Therefore, the self-knower is non-ascertaining. So just to say that again, because this is maybe a little strange, because the consciousness of happiness is not accepted as a consciousness, then that consciousness appears but is not realized, it's not ascertained, and therefore the self-knower too is non-ascertaining.
건주기를 제바체마 요르데 이내 건주기 제바체마서 킬링고나 그런저 제바체마 요마 체마 있나 무슨 체마 인고래라고 그래 치료 양면 받이게 지산 제바체마서 요마래라고 지산 매반자데 거기 디켈림 반자 치료비 양면비 제바체마 요르데 디냠순 요라리 요르데 다 제바체마 도고 말 나나마 오르래지래.
And then the third illustration here, self-knower in the continuum of the Sanskrit be Shavaka, and this can be sometimes nihilists or materialists, that experiences an inferential cognizer as being a valid cognizer. So this different illustration, but the point is the same. They don't accept inferential cognizers as valid cognizers. Therefore, its self-knower would be non-ascertaining. So it's the same way of thinking is required here as for the previous two, but a different illustration.
제사다 치료 장전바다 안에 제라바다 디수기 대화냠선 유라리 디기 대화 두고 말에 나나 될 나나마 로레라로 제가 모토비 김생 가래랍나 로도 코론스레 대화 말에 셈이 대화디 셰바 말에 셈비기 말에 냠비기다 로도 슉치부여와 로도 디기 슉 디기 견제네 라레 디기 안에 셰바이마 또 두고 말에 마도비 김센디레.
So the first two here, the Samkhyas and Vaisheshikas, they're the ones that say that happiness is form, it's not consciousness. So this is of course, it's a wrong consciousness, it's a wrong view. It's a wrong view, and due to the strength of this wrong vieio, konso lokta, yamera lokshepa. So through this wrong consciousness of not wrong view, wrong consciousness of the Samkhyas and Vaisheshikas, then they are unable to ascertain happiness as being consciousness because of their wrong consciousness holding to happiness being form. And therefore, there cannot be a self-knower realizing this consciousness which they do not accept as arising because they don't accept it as consciousness.
suk thongwai ne nangmai ne sukti to thugmen na lama lo re la so odina shere dai kono zuge samlo yigi sheba drupta ji wangi drumte wangi dewa se de sheba mare se de sugre mo de sheba zawgi ne mare sembi samlo di yigi sheba samlo shukchimo di yo yigi samlo na le dewa di sheba re sembe samlo cholo yunu dugo mare yigi sheba di karse yigi samlo na le dewa sheba mare sembe samlo di shukchimo yo ba di genje ne ani di shukin teje ne 대화냠선 여라리 디기 대화 또 마토바디 디레 김전지
Den kering petsen sa ba gona migi shepade nangla manepare den kong nangla manepa yena den kongi rangling 좀 yang nangla manepare
그 대신 미기 셰바 나라망의 미 김생 가르쳐서 세네 이기 셰바 파 잔야들 숙체 땅와 인자 아니 숙들 삼마다로 진짜 마다와 인자 수데 나와 있나야 네 마토와리 진짜 나라마 차서 어디 나시 다도 코론스기 이게 삼로디 대화 셰바에서 배 삼로 기네 마다 셰바 자기네 마리에서 비 슈디 대화 셰바 마힘비 초래 땅 셰바 인자 니기 견제네 누고 나라마 봐 차바리지.
So perhaps this can be understood through reminding ourselves of the illustration of a non-ascertaining awareness. So if we're listening to something and we're very involved with what we're listening to, then what four objects of form appears to our eye sense consciousness, we do not realize them, we do not ascertain them, and therefore they are that eye sense consciousness is a non-ascertaining awareness because it doesn't ascertain its object or realize its object due to the power of the ear sense consciousness, which is listening attentively to something. So similarly with these illustrations here, due to the power of the wrong consciousness that doesn't accept that happiness is a consciousness, therefore happiness then that appears is not ascertained by itself knower.
Nyamsun dewa sheba imba nyamsun yu rangri ngosumdi nala mangu lu mare labna ani gyuen kar yorasine rangri dela yana tsema jishe nala mangu lu sumodo yo marwa salang nala mangu lu mare labna yana tsema re la gore yana jishe re la gore chisa tsema na jishe kar ine tsema ine rangri yu zinda yu dewa de do gore jishe ine yu de do gore chisa da rangri digi dewa sheba nyamsun yu rangri digi dewa sheba imba do gore labna gyön가로서는 안에 장면벽이 대화 쉐바를 나오시게. 그래서 그 세메 도서 강사디기 대독배 참아여나 그 디레 스케일링으로. 강사 코로나 디독배 참으면 디 마레 스케일링으로. 그래서 강사 장면비규라 대화 쉐바 이모토배 참아여나 장면비규 가서래 장전받아 제라바디기 대화 쉐바를 나오고. 세상 광수 말아도 광수 대독배 참아여 말아. 매번 좀 커져 케일링거 말아.
다다 Jampa.
알아. 제라바다 장전받아. 대화 쉐바이 면여서 라릭데 나라마 로리스 말아바이나 안에 나라마 참아인 거 안에 지시인 거 그래. 참아다 지시 있나 대화 쉐바이마도 또 하고 그래. 세상 대화 쉐바이마 또 선나 장전비 대화 쉐바이마 또 그래. 대화 쉐바 말을람네 준차로 그러봐. 세상 건조 또 봐네 레라 그래. 세상 건조 또고 말해. 마도 반자 건조기 말해라 그러봐. 세상 또 봐이나 나라마 로 마인람네 교연로 된지 연구를 해서 그러다 리포트 해봐지 돼.
To look then further at these first two, say that of the samkhyas, the illustration with the samkhyas. So they don't accept that consciousness, that happiness is a consciousness. So if then one says, but how can their self-knower then of that consciousness of happiness be non-ascertaining? So if one says it's not a non-ascertaining self-knower, self-knowing direct perceiver, then what is it? A valid cognizer? A subsequent cognizer? So how can this the self-knowing direct perceiver be a valid cognizer of a consciousness that they do not accept? They do not accept that that the happiness feeling is actually consciousness. So therefore, not accepting that it is a consciousness, it cannot be realized at all by a self-knower, let alone by a self-knower which is a valid cognizer.
양면발에 집어래 양면비기 제바 체마 냠순유 라레티 나라마모 르미 김센디 가스는 그런 거 제바데 체마 말에 선비 이 제바데 로도디 이게 섬로 쳐서 제바 체마 요 말에 선비 섬로 슈침부 디 위여바인데 디 견진에 도고 말에 게시단 양면비 제바 체마 냠순유 라레 나라마로 말에 람나 대신한 제바에 하는 지시요 하는 체마인 거로와 체마나 지시나 제바 체마도 또 그래 제바 또 하려고 그래 제바 또나 양면비기를 제바 또배 체마에나 양면비기 제바 열으려고 그러마다 매력 말와 세상에 인산 양면비기 제바 체마 나라망 비김센으로 지래.
And the thinking is the same now with the third one, the Shavakas or the nihilists or materialists. So the thinking is the same. As a translator, I don't think I said it so clearly before, so hopefully this time I'll say it a little clearer. So the Shravakas don't accept inferential cognizers as being valid cognizers, so that we see here. So they don't, and therefore, not accepting an inferential valid cognizer as being a valid cognizer, they would say, not accepting that inferential valid cognizer is a valid cognizer, this, through the power of this wrong consciousness, no self-knowing direct perceiver can arise. Because if there was a self-knowing direct perceiver, it would have to be one of those three divisions. It would either have to be a valid cognizer, subsequent or non-ascertaining. If it were a valid cognizer, it would realize the inferential cognizer as being a valid cognizer. And if it were so, if the self-knowing direct perceiver were a valid cognizer, it would realize that an inferential valid cognizer is a valid cognizer. Therefore, it would refute the view of the Shravakas. Because the self-knower would realize that their wrong consciousness was wrong, it would realize correctly. And so therefore, their self-knower cannot be a valid cognizer. And if it can't be a valid cognizer, there cannot be a subsequent cognizer. And that only leaves the third option, non-ascertaining. So to say it again, because this is a little difficult. If the self-knowing direct perceiver of a Shrivaka was to realize that the inferential cognizer was a valid cognizer, that would be contrary to their view. And therefore they wouldn't be able to assert their view anymore. And they would no longer hold that particular Shrivaka view. But as they do hold that an inferential cognizer is not a valid cognizer, then that self-knower cannot be valid because it's not realizing, and therefore cannot be subsequent either. So it has to be non-ascertaining or non-realizing.
That this is Jinnam said, Rarike Singit Jinnam Larua, Jinnam said the Karasina, you Sheba Jizima, Kurong Zinda, you Sheba Jizindu, Sheba Della Rarik like Jinnam like Relarua. That did Lavio to Danga to Zoba Haligor and Zoba Dijagorda. Tan Jorong Rari said, you Sheba Jik, Sudan, Dimitigelos or Mazimba, Sheba Jigu, Zindu in Dilla, and Lodella and Rarik like Yuvana, and the Juniores. Jun Garayor Labna, and Sheba Topiki, Topa Yorba, Sheba Zimbi Topa Yorba, Sheba Zimbi Topa Chungur was Penanzuki, Mishandakula, Gumsen Dine, or call it Kokora Sashas, and how could Kono Topiki, Sheba Yungur. Chesa Denigi, Zimbi Yudi Topa Tigi, Sheba Chigu Zingo was, Madosuk Zingo Mar, Dimitri Zingo Mares. Chesa Diniza, Denigi Topa de Rarik Rebesta, Karasena Yudi. Sheba Chibu Zingu was and called bad Titiku to them.
Do you Yankee?
Topa Yorba, Sheba Chibu
Yang took your besa.
Yanju Mekan, Topa,
Topa,
almost Topa. You Sheba Zindu, Sheba Zinken, Topa Yorba, Sheba Zinken, Topa di, they call Juatan Rarik Revesti. There is Colonel the Tata Charge with the Rasene. Zinamra, who you Zinda, you did Sheba Chibu Zingu was, Sheba Leshan Sugi and Zingmin, Demet and Zingimentus, Chazan call you Sheba Chibu Zingu was, there's a Zinamre Shas, Chazan Rarik Reves to a Tango Holda.
The Jacomation.
Topa Chiorova, Sheba Zimbi Topa Chiorova, Co Rarik Marova, Rarik Namosumingorova, Sheba Zimbi Topa di. You Sheba Zingo, Mato Demeti Zingo, Maro Suk Zingo, Mares, Sheba Jiku Zingo, Koro Yudi Zinda, Yudi Sheba res. Says I did Rarik Rebes, Co Zinam Rovas or that.
The Kalikapo Mare, I'm talking about
Zinam Rarik Zinila. Zinam Rarik Zinila, and Zinam said the Ganesh Lagri Lavio. You de la Sheba Chibu Zindican number Sheba Zing to get the number is last of Jessica. She's a Denichila Rarik like this. She's a Rarik, the U de la Sheba Chibu Zinger Mato Zuga Zingamare and Demetia Zingimare. She called Zinda, you the Sheba Chibu Zingres and the Rarik Real Arvada. I did love you, Delia, Tazatan to Kartango, Zuba to the Kartugo Labna. Dana. Sheba Zindugan Topa was Topa. Sheba Chibu Zindugan Topa was the Topa Digi, Sheba Chibu Zingurama, Demedi Zingomar, and Suk Zingomares. Chesa Dini Sheba Chibu Zindugan Topa di Rarik Reves to Dangorda. Rarik in Lamna, Monsum Marwa, Topa was. Rari Namosum Ingore, and they got Topa, Monsum Remid was. 제가 되는 안다 디라를 많이 난다 그런 진남 라리게 챙이잖아 지금이 누스를 거다.
Okay, so let's try here. So this comes down to a debate pointing out a doubt in this definition of a self-know being an aspect of an apprehender. So an apprehender we know is consciousness. The apprehended was the object, the apprehender is the consciousness. So the object of the self-know is only consciousness. And that consciousness we call an apprehender. And this is a self-knower, right? And so yes, it fits the definition. And the self-knower only knows consciousness, it doesn't know form or non-associated composites, only knows consciousness. So this far, no doubt. But then the doubt comes. But consciousness is conceptual, and a self-knower is a direct perceiver. So consciousness is conceptual, and it therefore doesn't have as its object form or non-associated composites. But here we're saying that the self-knower is a direct perceiver. So that doesn't make some sense. I'm a little confused on the doubt, but anyway, we'll see if it becomes clearer.
Topa lane rarik marawa. Sheba zimbi topa yorwa ne. Sheba zimbi topa. Chezan ko yu deji rarik labi do kalapsene yu pen yu de la suwa da zimba sheba mayimba ni yores. Sheba zimbi hen de la sheba jibu yu jinda yu jehen sheba de la rarik lagres rarik digi sheba jibu ma do shenda zingi mare la rwa. Chezan sheba jibu zimba hen da rarik ingogure bes pa diba tan gorda. 이 고고에는 똑바로 와 셰바 지구 진행 똑바로 와서 디라를 말로 와서 저런 라리 셰바 지구 진행들 라리를 남는 지금은 노스 그래서 셰바 진행 똑바로 와서 근데 셰바 지구 진행엔 수다 데미지가야마 셰바 지구 진행 똑바로 와서 디 똑바디 무슨 말에 똑바로해서 진짜 라리 말해서 저런 게 셰바 지구 진행들 라리를 라고도 디람나 지금은 노스라고 하다.
So self-know is a direct perception, as we see from the title, self-knowing direct perceivers. But and therefore not conceptual. It's a direct perception. But consciousness is conceptual. So if consciousness is conceptual, how can it be a direct perceiver? How can the self-knower be a direct perceiver if a self-knower is consciousness and consciousness is conceptual? So that is the doubt.
대 셰바 지구 짐바 잠라 라릭 책 말에 가서 똑바단 자와 진고 그랬는지 무슨 생자에도 똑바단 자신 넘버 적어 그래서 셰바 지구 짐바 잠디 라릭 책 말에 셰바 지구 진되겐 똑바여 이 셰바여레스 디자면 말레스 디가라 가로서 똑바 많이 그래서 다지사디 무슨 미팅이셔도 똑바단 자신 라서 제가 똑바다 제 맞추지 봐 세도 제가 셰바 지구 진되겐 데라 인지 이제네 질 라리 지금 말 내가 넘버 가서 똑바 많이 받고 그래서 그래. 제가 똑바 셰바 지부 진에 똑바 요래디 라리 말했어. 그래서 그것도 똑바로 해야 돼요. 와서 제가 셰바 지부 진바 잠지다 라는 차기 말에 안 디가라 넘버 키치에 가르고 그래서 똑바 많이 받고 그래서 디가라 무슨 친구도 똑바도 자신세 넘버 자용.
So therefore we have the second definition to counter this kind of argument. Because in the second definition we have here, we have the definition of a self-knowing direct perceiver as that which has an aspect of an apprehender and is non-conceptual and is unmistaken. So therefore, a self-knowing direct perceiver, being non-conceptual, overcomes that doubt that this person had, but a consciousness can only be conceptual. Whereas here we're seeing in the definition, a self-knower is actually non-conceptual. And hence, there is a self-knowing direct perceiver because it fulfills this definition.
똑바 매인겐 또매게 셰바 있나 다라는 인구그레베스 파지와 땅구고래 다디네 인구구이나 안에 다 현기 셈 또디베 현생시비 원셰여로와 현기 셈 현기 셈 지부 진되게 원셰여로와 지산 현생 시비 원시디 가르친 것은 현기 셈 진고래스 셈 진고래 지산 코 진다 유디래 셈네 마도 현기 셈네 마도 수다 데미지에 가야 진고마 현기 셈 진고래스 ane ko tokpa ne mares ta sheba jindu ke sheba jibu jin tokpa ma yin che do was ta di ngonsum les shan chi shi ngonshe ko ngonshe rwa ngonsum rwa ngonsum re ko yu de la sheba ma de jimba jinam re ko sheba jibu jingu do was ta ra ri re bes pa ji wa dang ko da yang juen ji.
There's another doubt. So someone says, so you're saying that if a consciousness then has an aspect of an apprehender, it's non-conceptual and unmistaken, is a self-knowing direct perceiver. So we say, yes, that is our definition. So what about someone who has clairvoyance and is observing the mind of someone else? So there we have the clairvoyance. So it has as its object consciousness. So it has the aspect of an apprehender, because the object is consciousness, an apprehender. It is non-conceptual, in that it's a direct perceiver, and it's unmistaken. So are you saying then that the clairvoyance that is holding someone else's, or observing, realizing someone else's mind, are you saying that it is a self-knowing direct perceiver because it fulfills the definition?
다디 코 넘버 가져서 오다 결혼에 셔야지 현심 시비 원시에 세대 원숨리 코 유디 셔바 진고래 이내고 라릭 차기 말했어 라릭 이내 가린 고구리 랍나 니 콜라 군종아 매고구리 했어야 라 셈중 콜라 군종아 셈 차상라 군종아 연구로 초와 두시에 서바 일레지 바래 봤어 콜 로바 군종아 여러와 셈지 콜라 군종아 연구로 되네 인장 현심 시비 원시에 라여디 대로 로바 초와 두시 서바 일레지라고 꾸동아 요래서 그래서 그 로바 요래서 라는 게 될이야 셰바지고 진캔 원수민간 코 로바 셰바지 코로 지마도 코콜이야 현다 메간지 고고래서 그래서 그 진바 양가와 선에 될미 내버셔고 진바지고 셰바지고 진되게지 임바지라 디 콜로님도 로바 초와도 두시 간에 메가지고 고고래서 그래서 되네지리리래서 그 탐에 타줘야 되시거다 카나 셰바 지부 진주게 코롱 콜라 안에 셈중 초와도 두시 셈발라서 간에 메되게 되네게 셰바 지부 지라 라링 오슴세 샤그레스 라링 샤그레스 오다 난다라.
So it seems to make some sense, doesn't it? Because there's clairvoyance, knowing someone else's mind, seems to fit the definition. But the answer then that is given is, well, part of what you're saying is correct. The clairvoyance is non-conceptual in that it's direct. Its object is a consciousness, an apprehender, but it is not a self-knower. And the reason it is not a self-knower is that a self-knower doesn't have the 5 omnipresent mental factors accompanying it, whereas clairvoyance would. So these 5 omnipresent mental factors of feeling, discrimination, intention, mental engagement, and contact, these are present for clairvoyance, but not for a self-knower. So therefore, your illustration is mistaken.
Okay,
well, our time is done. So now I think it's time for everyone to relax, so we'll finish here for tonight. Thank you.